This is the Final Word World Cup Daily, T20 World Cup Daily. It's day 6, part 2. Adam did a show earlier today. I believe Geoff Lemon and Bharat Sundaresan with you in Bridgetown, Barbados for Westfield, London, Westfield, Stratford City. It's hot, it's sweaty, it's humid, it's midnight. That's how long it took to get through Australia, Oman. Bharat Sundaresan, please tell me all about the game in the space of 30 seconds.
The Oman captain said, "We will not be overawed. We don't care if you're Australia." And for the first 8 or 9 overs, they played like they weren't overawed. If anything, they looked like they were dominating the game. Then David Warner did what David Warner does, used his experience, played a crucial hand, made a 50. Marcus Stoinis hit it around 4 sixes in the same over, smashed a 60 like he had done in the last T20 World Cup. Australia posted a big total, and Oman were never going to get close. 3 wickets for Stoinis, great catch for Tim David in the end. Australia easy winners, but it's almost the next day, so I don't think we won at all.
Australia easy winners who had to work bloody hard for it. I will say that much. So, I mean, and it wasn't even 8 or 9 overs; it was 14 overs in the end that they were scrapping. So, I mean, we knew that this pitch was apparently a little difficult, although the Scots didn't seem to find it that difficult against England the other day. But looking at the Oman-Namibia game that had happened here earlier, low-scoring game, difficult. They come out with Bilal first opening the bowling, goes for just to run people through this. 6 runs off the opening over there. Cully Muller, 7 runs off that over. He's getting the ball to deck around. He has a couple of big LBW appeals that don't hold. Bilal, 6 runs off the third. Travis Head gets out, slams one to mid-off and gets caught. And on it goes from there. They start introducing spin. Shakil Ahmed, who bowls left-arm orthodox but also bowls 120 k's an hour. So it suddenly starts making it difficult. There's 4 runs from an over, 5 runs from an over, 6, 7, back to 5, back to 4. It got real difficult real quickly, I suppose. And this is the point where Imran Khan comes on, and he's your classic sort of making up the numbers in a team that's not as strong kind of bowler. He's medium pace. He's not that quick. He doesn't seem to be doing that much. He's lost most of his hair, and he bowls a no ball. He offers up a free hit that gets smacked for 4, and you feel like, okay, this is the point where the grip is going to start to slip in the 7th over. But no. He comes back in the 9th over and he takes 2 for 2. He gets Mitchell Marsh bombing one down the ground, and then he gets Glenn Maxwell trying to slam one through the covers first ball. An absolute stunner of a catch from Aqib Ilyas. Yeah, best catch we've seen so far.
Oh, absolutely. And he did say, right, Aqib Ilyas, that by the end of the night, the Australians will be talking about us, and they will definitely be talking about that catch. We all will be for a long time to come. And you spoke about the Scottish batters doing okay on that pitch, but what they did face was extra pace. The 3 bowling attacks which have made batting really difficult in the first 10 overs, Oman twice now and Namibia once. And even when Mitchell Starc was bowling the first over, every time he got the line slightly wrong, the extra pace, it seemed like it was easy to bat against him. Easy, relatively speaking. But you're right. You can talk as much as you want about the pitch, but the discipline that the Oman bowlers showed. And think about it, like, we have to put it into context, Jeff. This was the biggest day of the Oman men's team. Yeah. They've played a couple of test nations in the past. They've beaten Ireland in a previous T20 World Cup, but they've never faced a team of the caliber of Australia in the big stage. And for them to hold their nerve against the likes of Warner, Head, Maxwell, Marsh, and give nothing away, make the most of the pitch, full credit to them. And unfortunately, as we've seen happen with these teams, it's dropped catches that hurt them. Yes, Marcus Stoinis went on to play a great innings, but he's dropped by the keeper when he's on 8. And then the first of his 4th sixes, the fielder, unfortunately, is not on the boundary rope. He's a few yards in, misjudges the catch, takes the catch, and falls with his head landing on the rope.
Literally headbutting the line.
He did, and he didn't even move the cushion and put it back into place. He was so disappointed. 3 more sixes in the over, and at that point, you knew the game was done and dusted.
But it felt so tense before that point. So Imran Khan takes a couple of wickets, and then it's Aqib Ilyas who comes in. So the variety of this Oman attack was interesting. So Cully Muller, who's like 6'7", and he's banging it in, not super fast, but getting it to move around off the seam. Right. Then you have Imran Khan with the little mediums taking the wickets, and then you have Aqib Ilyas who bowls off breaks to the left-handers, leg breaks to the right-handers, and he had Marcus Stoinis in all sorts. So they're 3 down. Warner at this point is just batting at about a runner ball. So basically Warner has looked at this pitch and gone, well, this is difficult. we're going to need to think 120 and then see what else we can get from there, and we just need me to bat through. So he does the sensible thing, which is hold fire, picks up, creates a couple of boundaries where he moves across his stumps and so on, but doesn't look to force the pace first of all. But Stoinis is trudging along. He's well under a runner ball, and he is nowhere against the leg spinner. The Akib turns it past his outside edge 3 or 4 times, beats him comfortably, makes him look stupid. Then there's the outside edge, which is a thick edge that hits the keeper's thumb on the right hand. So that's one of those ones where the keeper doesn't have time to react to it, really. It's just whether it hits the middle of your gloves or not. And then it's Mehran coming back for his third over. Now, by this point, Mehran's got 3 overs, 2 for 12. And gets Stoinis hitting down the ground to long off, has him caught, and then it turns into a 6. And that's just, I mean, it's such a clear turning point. Like you say, 3 more 6s in the over. And Stoinis has pretty much got them a match-winning total almost in that over alone. And then from there, it does slip away through the last few overs. The dam breaks basically at that point. Shaquille goes for 8 off an over. There's 16 runs off the 17th. There's 9 off the 18th. There's 17 off the 19th. There's 8 off the 20th. And look, a couple more wickets fall there. Stoinis and Warner both make it to 50. Stoinis quickly, Warner slowly, in relative terms, bat a runner ball. Warner gets out late in the piece trying to slam one. Stoinis bats through with Tim David and has some quirky stuff at the end that we might come to in the Hall of Fame. And then, the reply was more routine, I guess, although... So we saw Oman lose 2 in the first over to Ruben Trumpelman, left arm swing against Namibia, almost 2 in the over to Stark. One of them gets overturned, LBW on appeal, but it was like 4 wide wicket dot, 4 wide wicket dot, pretty much in that first over, but then the wicket was overturned.
A couple of things. Firstly, on David Warner, to all the David Warner detractors who said, we should have played Jake Fraser-McGurk, and come on, why do they keep going back to Warner? Today was a proof that in difficult conditions, you can't go into a World Cup without David Warner till the time he retires, and you can't pick him anymore. And he showed you why. Yes, Marcus Stoinis is the one who will get the plaudits. I'm sure he was player of the match for his innings, but if David Warner doesn't do what David Warner does, Australia could have fallen apart. I thought he got the conditions right. And I remember a chat he had with Mitchell Marsh. It looked like that's when they decided, you know what, maybe we should aim for 140 and then maybe we'll see where we are in the next 7 overs. And he played a crucial hand. And I think we had a bit of a debate in the press box at the 10 over mark where I said, look, I know Oman are in a good position, but I still feel once they won the toss, and they did win the toss, they should have batted first, because a team like Oman, their strength is their bowling, as we saw. And just flip it around and say Oman make 125, they might still have lost. And then Australia are 40 for 3. They suddenly run chase pressure, right? And then Oman, even if 1 over goes against them, they're still in the game. They're not out of the game. But as we saw, because they banked on their weaker side, which is the batting, once Australia went past even 130, you knew they had no chance against his bowling attack. Yeah,
pretty much that was how it panned out. So Atavale, the wicketkeeper who got brought into the side, they dropped the 241-year-olds from their previous outing and brought in a couple of younger players. He's out for a dark LBW to Stark. 5th over, Prajapati is out. Nathan Ellis gets one, just shaving the outside of leg stump, but the umpire gave it out on the field. And then Stoinis comes into play in the 6th and the 8th over. You can't keep him out of the game at this point. Really got the ball to kick with his mediums. Like, his bowling's often underrated or not. It's not brought into the picture when people talk about his batting. But it was the freest I've seen him with the bat for a long time, really, in terms of the way he was willing to attack the ball. But yeah, so he picks up Akab Ilyas and Zishan Maksud, who were the 2 who actually did something with the bat against Namibia. So that pretty much felt like game over. There was a slowish partnership between Khalid Kale and Ayan Khan before Khalid was out, caught by Maxwell in the deep. He finally middled one from Stark. He kept playing and missing. He was getting full tosses outside off. He couldn't, and he finally nails a full wide ball and hits it straight to deep backward point, where Glenn Maxwell takes that catch. And there was a bit of bashing down the order. Mehran Khan particularly came in and hit a few 6s. Ayan Khan, who was batting for a long time, eventually hit Zampa for 2 6s in a row and then holes out going for the 3rd one, but too little too late. Really, and they needed to drop the hammer early if they were going to have a chance.
Yeah, and they tried. They hit a boundary of the first ball, but against the swinging ball, they had no chance. And Marcus Stoinis, just look at the last 2 World Cups Australia have had. Go back to 2022, they lose to New Zealand. They are in trouble against Sri Lanka. It was the Marcus Stoinis innings that took them over the line and gave them their first win, got their campaign going. and go back to the 50-over World Cup. They beat Sri Lanka, but in that Pakistan game, whenever Pakistan looked like they were going to threaten that big run chase, Marcus Stoinis came and took a couple of wickets in an over, I remember. So he is that kind of player. So even if he is out of form, there is a reason why Australia like keeping him here. And look, the pitches and the latter half of the IPL weren't as difficult as this, but still he did play a few crucial innings there, so he's carried that confidence in. A good game for him at the start of the World Cup campaign, so good on him. But like from an Oman perspective, they'll take some pride. I guess the highlight of the game would still be the Aqib Ilyas catch of Glenn Maxwell.
Yeah, that will make the tournament highlight reels as the alarms start to go off and some dignitaries leaving the ground. So, okay, quick break. We've got Hall of Fame. We've got Uganda, Papua New Guinea. We'll be back in a sec. It is the final word. World Cup Daily 6.5. A note from our friends at Westfield. Are you still reeling from Jimmy Anderson's totally voluntary retirement announcement? Well, he might have hung up his boots, but you can still experience the magic of dinosaurs, Bharat.
Oh, wow.
At Westfield, Stratford City, thanks to Life Chronicles. It's an immersive VR expedition ripped straight from Ross Geller's most lucid dreams, where you can walk among the dinosaurs and witness the emergence of the earliest humans 100,000 years ago. Don't just try Ceratops, succeed Ceratops.
Oh, wow, really?
Ceratops. Don't just try Ceratops, succeed Ceratops. Book your tickets. Life Chronicles by Eclipso Entertainment, Westfield, Stratford City. They've spared no expense. Hall of Fame. I'm going to start with the last over of Australia's innings in which Tim David came out to bat. A player who is in the side to belt the living shit out of the ball with very little time to get in. That is his job. His job is to come in with 3 balls remaining or 6 balls remaining or 16 balls remaining and make like 40 runs. That's his gig. He comes out, he's at the non-striker's end. Marcus Stoinis drives one down the ground along on and says, "No thanks, champ. You stay there. I'm hitting him nicely, thank you. I'll keep the strike." Could you believe that?
I don't think Tim David could believe that, to be honest. And he did walk down, and I couldn't see whether he was smiling or not, but he did have a couple of words with Marcus Stoinis. And as it turned out, like Marcus Stoinis didn't really connect after that either. The other one, he was dropped, the ball went up in the air, and he managed to get back for a couple of runs and got the strike back as well.
That's right. Now tell me, am I wrong? I think that ball hit the wire of Spider-Cam when the catch was dropped. Stoinis, I saw it live, and I could be wrong. I can't swear to it, but the wire wobbled as the ball went past it, and the ball seemed to pop up a little higher, and the fielder coming in, which means it takes distance off it. The fielder coming in from long off can't quite get to it and drops it on the run in. I'm as sure as I can be that hit the Spider-Cam wire, which means it should have been a dead ball.
Yeah.
Right, according to what we know.
Yep.
But the umpires didn't notice it, and it was just from our trajectory, which was quite high in the ground, that you noticed the deviation in the ball. I might be wrong, but does that seem unreasonable?
In fact, there was a ball in the last game, England-Scotland yesterday. One of the top edges from one of the openers, must be Munzi, which kind of felt like it hit the wire as well. It came towards the press box, so you could see the direction change dramatically. So, maybe the umpires aren't paying that much attention to the Spider-Cam wire anymore. It's just become part of cricket, I guess.
Another bit, Stoinis apologising to Tim David after he was run out off the last ball. David didn't need to apologise for that. Didn't need to apologise for not giving him the strike earlier. But they go, he hits one down the ground, they take one, they come back for the second, and the throw comes in and David's comfortably run out. You should always be running for that. Like we've talked about this on the show before. You should always be backing the fact that the throw might go awry and you want to take... It doesn't matter if you get out or not at that point of the innings. But then he was going back in saying sorry like he shouldn't have called for 2. Come on.
I know, the great late Dean Jones always used to say that on commentary, right? Like, just finish the run, or maybe take the run. You never know, and the one extra run can always make a difference. Yeah, so, that was an interesting partnership to finish. My Hall of Fame, I guess, is pretty obvious. David Warner taking 5 steps into the wrong dressing room. It was a hot and humid day, or hot and humid evening, and he had spent a lot of time there. At least 4 or 5 times he had Cameron Green running out drinks to him. But, I guess it happens when you're playing in a venue after a long time, or the venue has changed as well. They have done up the Kensington Oval since David Warner last played here. He gets out and he starts walking, slightly dejected because he's got out, but also tired. 5 steps in, somebody taps his shoulder and says, sorry, champ, this is the wrong dressing room. This is Oman, that's Australia. So, and
What do they say instead of champ in Oman?
I wonder actually. I should learn some Omani. Considering most of them are from Pakistan and India, they would have been like, "Arey, oi! Wo wala."
And my last bit, the fact that Kalimullah had, first of all, the appeal where he ran towards the umpire, waving his arms wildly, and Joel Wilson had to say, you're not actually allowed to do that. Like, you can't charge the umpire. This is not Premier League football. Sorry. And then when he finally got water out, he celebrated, fist pumped, and then he did this big kick, like he was like a rugby, drop kick, but kind of aimed in Warner's direction, like he was literally mime kicking him out of the stadium.
Oh, no,
You're out of here, champ. Right, we've got PNG, Uganda. If we can have a look at the numbers from that. We were trying to keep an eye on this because it was happening almost at the same time. Pleased to say that the Cricket Cranes have got their first win at a World Cup, although it would have been nice if PNG had been able to do that too. Papua New Guinea bowled out for 77, and they started with a duck, 1 and 5. It didn't get a lot better from there. Basically, all of the Ugandan bowlers got involved. Ramjani, 2 for 17. Cosmas Kiwuta, whose work we enjoyed the other day, 2 for 17 as well, who bowled really well when they were getting mauled. Juma Miyagi, 2 for 10 off 4 overs. Masaba, 1 for 17. And the grand old man at 43 years old, Frank Nsubuga, took 2 for 4. That's 2 wickets for 4 runs off 4 overs. So he bowled 4 overs for 4 runs, the most economical spell ever in a T20 World Cup, the 4th best spell ever in T20 international cricket in terms of runs conceded first. There's been one scoreless one. The Canadian captain once bowled his 4 overs for none, didn't concede a run, but that was against Panama, who probably aren't too crash hot when it comes. They were bowled out for 37 that day from memory. So, remarkable figures, and nothing really worked for PNG that day. And then Uganda very nearly buggered it up in the chase. Mukasa out for a duck, Simon Sisazai out for 1, and Robinson Abuya out for 1. So they were 3 for absolutely nothing at one point. They were three down with 6 on the board, 4 down with 25, 5 down with 26. And then it all got pulled together by Riyazat Ali Shah and Juma Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi, doing the job, sanding the floor, sanding the deck, who managed to hang in there. It only made 13, but it was an important 13. Riyazat Ali Shah made 33, then got himself out just before the end, so there was still a bit of a wobble with the lower order having to find the last 3 runs, but they were able to do that. So 78 for 7, a low-scoring affair, but they managed to get home.
I guess cricket now has its own Roger Miller moment, right? Like 2 for 4 in 4 overs. The moment I saw who had done it, I was like, that's the Roger Miller moment. So, so happy for Uganda, but you're right. My heart breaks for PNG as well. I mean, they've been trying so hard for so long, and this team's played together for such a long time. Some really senior figures in the PNG side, but again, right, in these kind of conditions where these inexperienced teams are going to come, they will struggle. We will see some low-scoring matches, but like tonight, we might see some low-scoring thrillers as well. One of the two was always going to be, or always going to get their first World Cup win. We all thought it would be PNG, but the way they played against the West Indies, but well done Uganda. And I haven't seen celebration videos. Generally, when you have any team from Africa, I'm stereotyping here, but you always look for the celebration videos, right? But I'm sure there will be some. Okay,
USA Pakistan. That's my tip for a good upset.
That could be really good, and imagine what it'll be like on the Pakistani news shows. I'm tuning into all of them if that does happen.
Let's hope they video link in somebody who opens with Namaste. Anyway, that's it. This has been the Final Word World Cup Daily, day 6.5, the second half. Geoff Lemon, Bharat Sundaresan. We'll be back with you on day 7. I think Adam will be from New York City. Okay, that's it from us. We'll see you later.
Hi.